The snow came down over the runway lights like a slow curtain, and the old habit made me count seconds between gusts, the way I used to time cross winds on approach. Retired or not, a pilot's hands remember. At 71, I still reach for switches that aren't there, mixture, prop, flaps, then settle them on the rim of a coffee cup and let the steam tell me what time it is. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. It helps more than you think. "Dad, you'll love this," Daniel said, carving the turkey as if authority were a knife that only cut one way. "We've decided to list your pasture acreage in January. It's the smart move with rates where they are." His smile was the runway kind, bright, straight, ignoring weather. I set my fork down. "We've decided?" I asked. He didn't look up. "It's just paperwork. I've already spoken to a buyer who'll fast-track. You wouldn't have to lift a finger." My daughter Anna watched me over her wineglass. "It would simplify, Dad," she said softly. "Less to worry about." "The pasture," I said. "South fence to the creek?" "Exactly," Daniel said. "Unused land, high property tax, low yield. We cash out, roll into something managed. Passive income." He tapped his phone. "I've got documents queued." "Cue them on paper," I said. "This table's not rated for screens." He laughed, quick and mechanical. "Old school. I get it." He pulled a folder from his briefcase and laid down a set of forms with tabs like colorful promises. I slid my glasses on. The title block read, "Listing Agreement." The annex read, "Option and Assignment of Beneficial Interest." The footer, in smaller letters, read, "Power of Attorney. Limited." "Limited," I repeated, and my thumb found the edge of the page the way it found the detent on a throttle. Memory, not thought. Daniel kept carving. "It's standard. Lets me handle signatures so you don't have to drive into town in a blizzard." Anna reached for my hand. "It's just a help," she said. I turned the page. "Schedule C, encumbrances," I read aloud, blank lines. "Schedule D, consents." Blank. "Seller of record," I said. "That's me. We've decided doesn't sign." Daniel exhaled through his nose. "You're making this adversarial." "I'm making it visible," I said. I looked at the kitchen window, where snow pressed its face to the glass and stayed. "You didn't mention the well rights." "Because the developer doesn't care about water," he said too fast. "They're putting in a storage depot." "My land isn't a staging area for someone else's rush," I said. "Not while I'm still walking it." Anna squeezed my fingers. "We thought it would be easier to present it than discuss." "Easier for who?" I asked. Daniel set the knife down. "For everyone. You taught me to get ahead of headwinds." "I taught you to read them," I said, "not to pretend they're tailwinds because you're tired." He smiled again, but it had edges. "We can fight," he said, "or we can be a family that makes decisions." "We can be a family that tells the truth," I said. He pushed the folder closer. "Just skim it." I read the way you pre-flight in sleet, slow, deliberate eyes and fingertips. The limited power named his brokerage as attorney-in-fact. The assignment handed an option to a holding company I didn't recognize. The beneficial interest clause sliced my pasture away from the homestead in a single paragraph, like a wing sheared from a fuselage cleanly enough that the plane still thinks it can fly. "Name of the holding company," I said. "Blue Hollow Partners." "Affiliates," he said. "Normal." "Not Oak Hollow?" He blinked. "Who?" "Never mind," I said, and flipped to the signature page. No notary, no witness. tabs begging for a pen like runway lights begging for contact. I closed the folder. "Daniel," I said, "tell me what hole you're trying to fill." He spread his hands. "It's not like that." "It's always like that," I said. "Holes don't announce themselves. You feel the nose drop." He looked at Anna, then back at me. "I need liquidity," he said quietly. "A bridge note. The buyer is ready." "Then your buyer can wait for proper weather," I said. I stood, slow with the knees that have climbed more ladders than years. I took the folder to the sideboard and set it under the old flight log I keep there to weigh down the loose mail. "We'll fly this at my speed," I said. "Full stop landing, no touch and go." Anna's eyes shone. "Dad." "We'll talk," I said gently. "Tomorrow morning, after breakfast. With names, not terms. I'll call Sam Bennett from the old hangar. He keeps a cleaner wrench on paperwork than he ever did on carburetors." Daniel's jaw worked like he'd bitten gristle. "It's Christmas," he said. "All the more reason to tell the truth," I said. When the dishes were done and the house quiet, I took my notebook from the drawer, the small one with the oil stain, and wrote, "Christmas dinner. Daniel proposes sale of Pasture. Documents include limited POA and assignment to Blue Hollow Partners. No notary, no witness. Well, rights not mentioned, I dated the page. Then I pulled the tin box from the pantry, the one with my deed, my boundary survey, the mineral and water rights addendum I had recorded in 1991, and the letter from Judge Harlan when he adjudicated the fence line dispute with our neighbor, God rest him. I laid the deed beside Daniel's forms and let the quiet do what quiet does when men have tried too hard to speak for me. The wind shifted, and the house answered in its joints. Out in the pasture, snow-covered markers I could find with my eyes closed because I'd walked that rectangle until it imprinted on my feet. "Tomorrow," I told the empty kitchen, 0800 pre-flight. Morning light came on cold and blue, the kind that makes a man check his breath like a pre-flight gauge. I called Sam Bennett at 0803. "You still keeping that hangar office warm?" I asked. "Warmer than your pasture," he said. "Bring the papers." "I'll bring the reading glasses." By 9, I was in the old county records room, the only place in town where dust felt honest. Sam flipped Daniel's folder open like a mechanic opening a cowling. "Listing agreements the paint," he said. "The engine is here." He tapped the annex. "Option and assignment of beneficial interest to Blue Hollow Partners." "Blue, not oak," I said. "Different color, same hole," Sam replied. "And here, the limited power of attorney. Limited like a thunderhead is limited to overhead." "Who drafted this?" "My son-in-law," I said. "At Christmas dinner." Sam didn't look surprised. "Pilots learn 2 things early. Never run out of altitude, airspeed, or ideas at the same time, and never sign what you haven't flown in your head twice." He laid my deed beside Daniel's papers. "Your recorded water and mineral addendum, 1991, still controls the pasture. Any transfer must expressly preserve it. These forms don't." "So they erase what a clerk typed 34 years ago," I said. "They try." He slid me a legal pad. "We make a log. Time, caller, document, ask what you said." "Already started," I told him, and put my small oil-stained notebook on his desk. He smiled. "Good." He dialed the county index. "Title run, Carr Township, parcel 1706 22 400 003. The clerk on speaker cleared her throat. "Owner of record, Franklin J. Hale. No mortgages. One caution. UCC 1 filing last week. Secured party, Blue Hollow Partners. Collateral described as proceeds of disposition of subject parcel." "Without my signature?" I asked. UCCs don't ask as politely as deeds, Sam said. Into the phone. Faxed the index and the UCC image to my office. When we hung up, he leaned back. They're staking a claim on money you haven't agreed to take. Standard pressure and hurry maneuver. Then we slow it down, I said. Exactly. Step 1. UCC 3 termination. Lack of authorization. Step 2. Affidavit of non-consent. Recorded with the chain. So any buyer sees your beacon flashing. Step 3. Letter to Blue Hollow's registered agent. Produce a signed note or withdraw. Step 4. All communications in writing. You'll answer questions. You won't absorb pressure. My phone buzzed. Daniel, I put it on speaker. Dad, quick update, he said, cheerful like a flight attendant before a rough patch. I've moved the appointment up. Notary at 3. If you sign today, buyer can wire earnest money by Friday. Daniel, I said, we'll communicate on paper. Dad, I'm trying to make your life easier. Easier starts with clarity, I said. List encumbrances, name the buyer, disclose any affiliate relationships. A beat. Why are you being adversarial? Because wind exists, I said, and ended the call. Sam slid a pen toward me. Let's file your beacon. By noon, the UCC3 and affidavit were drafted, simple as a checklist, ugly as truth. We walked them across to the recorder. The clerk stamped with a thud that sounded like brakes grabbing. Outside, snow ticked against my coat. Sam spoke, without looking at me. Frank, there's more you can do. You can pick a landing no one expects. Land trusts, co-ops, easements that make speculators lose interest. I'm listening, I said. Tenant equity co-op, he said. City's got a pilot program for rural hamlets, would you believe it? You convert the acreage with a housing component. Long horizon, low leverage. You keep a lifetime right to occupy and steward. The land stops being a chip in somebody's hand. My pasture's not apartments, I said. It's also not a quick sale to cover a balloon, he said. And Blue Hollow hates co-ops. They can't flip them. I thought of the south fence under snow, of the creek that knows my boot prints. If I convert, I said, I do it because it keeps the ground honest. Good reason, Sam said. We can start the paperwork now and file a notice of intent. It changes the math. At 2, a white SUV nosed into my drive. Daniel got out with a smile that had cooled 2 degrees since last night. With him, a woman in a camel coat and boots, too clean for pasture. Dad, Daniel said, stepping into my kitchen without waiting. This is Tessa. She's with Blue Hollow. Tessa's handshake was firm and dry. Mr. Hale, she said, we're excited to help you unlock value. Value's not locked, I said. It's grazing. She smiled like I told a small joke. We can structure this so you keep a life estate and never worry about maintenance again. Sam's letter lay on the table. I rotated it so she could read the header. Here's my structure, I said. UCC termination filed at 11:42. Affidavit recorded. Please produce any note bearing my signature. Her eyes didn't flicker. Our filings were anticipatory. We'll clear them at closing. There is no closing, I said. Not today. Daniel's jaw moved like a stuck trim wheel. Dad, you're making this hard. I'm making it careful, I said. You can practice patience here or learn it somewhere harder. Tessa's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and back to me. We'd hate for this to become adversarial. So would I said. Bring paper that matches your mouth. They left with boots tracking wet across my mat. Sam, on the phone, exhaled. They showed themselves, he said. Good. Now, the co-op. Start it. I said. Copy, he said. And Frank, keep logging. Saturday we hold a pasture walk. You invite the neighbors who've mended fence with you. Bring coffee. Bring truth. Predators hate daylight. That evening, Anna came by with a casserole that could fix most things but this. She set it down and studied my face like a horizon line. Dad, we're flying in weather, I said. Daniel? She asked. And the company that rented his courage, I said. She sat. I didn't know about Tessa, she said. I thought Daniel was helping. Maybe he thought that too, I said. Help is a word people carry to cover their hands. What do you need from me? She asked. Witness, I said, and to tell me if I start confusing caution with fear. She reached for my notebook and read the lines I'd written since dawn. You always logged better than you slept, she said. Tonight, I said, I'll try both. We ate in the quiet of a house that had weathered worse storms than family. Snow fell steady, the forgiving kind. I washed dishes. She dried. The radio murmured a forecast. Wind shifting north. Visibility improving by Saturday. Good, Anna said, handing me a towel. That's the day you invited the sky. Neighbors, I corrected. She smiled. Same thing, when you're lucky. By Saturday, the snow had crusted over the pasture like a thin shell. Each step broke it with a sound that reminded me of headset static. Neighbors came the way hawks do when the wind is right. Quiet, purposeful. Coffee in a galvanized dispenser steamed on the tailgate. Sam stood beside it with a clipboard. Dana Cho tucked her scarf into her collar and checked batteries. Nora and Keisha from the tenants group didn't bring tenants this time, just their habit of standing where pressure tends to fall. Morning, I said. We'll walk the fence line once, then talk. Daniel arrived late with Tessa from Blue Hollow, both in boots that looked rented. Good to see community engagement, Tessa said, like she'd practiced it on a whiteboard. Engagement is when both hands are open, I replied. Today is for daylight. We started at the south fence. The creek ran black under ice, talking low to itself. Sam pointed with his pencil. Recorded easement, 1991. Water and mineral rights reserved to current owner and successors, he said for the record. Dana filmed the plaque on the corner post. The county stamp pitted but legible. Your forms omitted those, I said. Tessa smiled without teeth. Our council considered them immaterial to intended use. Water's never immaterial, I said. At the east boundary, Nora set a small tripod and read from a one-pager. An affidavit of non-consent recorded yesterday, she said. UCC3 termination filed. Owners have rights. Process matters. Daniel tugged his cap down. Dad, can we talk like family? We are, I said. This is what family looks like when truth's on the table. Halfway back, Sam's phone hummed. He glanced down and handed it to me. A county index email blinked. Notice of guardianship petition. Filed provisional. Petitioner, Daniel West. I felt the wind shift, a degree colder. Tessa? I held the phone where she couldn't avoid it. Your fingerprints on this? She didn't blink. We advise. We don't file. Daniel's face reddened. It's just provisional. They told me it protects you. From who? I asked. Me. Dana lowered her camera. I'm going to need the file number. Sam took back the phone. We file a notice of representation today, he said, and a physician's capacity letter Monday at 9. Orphans Court hates being used. Back at the trucks, I set 3 copies of my log on the tailgate. Times, callers, asks, what I said, witnesses. Anyone can photograph, I said. No one can remove. People lined up like they do for potluck, polite, Serious. Pastor Green nodded once, as if blessing a tool. Tessa cleared her throat. Mr. Delaney, Blue Hollow is prepared to sweeten terms. Life estate, maintenance guarantee, expedited close. Expedited is a word for people who don't plan to stay, I said. My plan is staying, Dana asked. Mr. Delaney, is there anything you want on record? Yes, I said, steady. A son pushed paper that called me incompetent. A company filed liens against proceeds that didn't exist. We answered with paper that holds. Daniel's jaw worked. I can fix this. By telling the truth, I said. Start there. He looked at Tessa, then away. Blue Hollow gave me a bridge, he muttered. Balloon due last Friday. Dana's eyebrow rose. So the filings coincided with your debt. Silence gathered like birds on a wire. Let's finish the walk, I said. We looped the north edge where the wind bit cheeks and made talk efficient. Keisha snapped a photo of the posted meeting notice for Wednesday's co-op session. Hallway, cookies, questions invited. The smallness of the future sat easier than anyone's big idea. At the trucks, Sam clicked his pen. To do, he said, half for me, half for the wind. Court notice, capacity letter, demand to Blue Hollow's agent. County copy delivered by hand. Dana gets file numbers. I'll add one, I said. Call Airman's Council, and saw Sam smile at the old reflex. Pilots Association? Dana asked. They taught me to write logs that read in court, I said. Tessa stepped forward one last time. Mr. Delaney, you're making a mistake. This land will sit idle when it could produce. It already produces, I said, looking at the tracks that crossed my own. It produces a place to stand. She tucked her card back in her coat. Our offer stands for 72 hours. 72 hours is how long men used to wait out weather at Allegheny before trying again, I said. You can wait. They left in a crunch of tires over crust. The neighbors hung back, then drifted off with a few words that felt like ballast. Here if you need. Coffee any time? Got a spare gate hinge? Dana closed her tripod. File number? She asked Sam. He handed it over. Case 2025G114. She nodded. Pattern piece 3. When the pasture was quiet, Daniel stood with his hands jammed in his pockets. I thought speed would save me, he said. I didn't think about what it would cost you. Speed doesn't care what it rolls over, I said. Pace does. He looked at the creek, then at me. What do I do now? You write a withdrawal, I said. You file it yourself. You take responsibility where there's ink. He swallowed. Okay. At home, I wrote the day into the notebook. Ink steady. Pasture walk held. Guardianship petition spotted. Provisional. Council notified. Witnesses present. Son acknowledged debt. Company named. Co-op meeting posted. I drew a box around the last line and underlined it once. Keep pace. Keep heat low. Keep flying the numbers. Monday started with clear air, the kind pilots call K-view, ceiling and visibility unlimited. I took it as a kindness. At 8:55, Sam and I sat in Orphan's Court under lights that make everyone honest. Daniel came alone, hair combed like a boy going to his first interview. He handed me a folded paper before we were called. I filed it, he said. Withdrawal? I'm sorry. I read the single paragraph, plain and unadorned. Good, I said. Sit. Judge Ellery called the case. Sam rose. Your Honor, petitioner has moved to withdraw. Respondent appears with counsel. We also submit Dr. Singh's capacity letter. The judge glanced at the letter, then at me. Mr. Hale, do you know today's date? January 5th, I said. Wind out of the north at 10? Visibility good. He almost smiled. Petition withdrawn, he said, gavel soft. Mr. West, this court is not a tool for leverage. Do not return with this kind of paper unless the facts match the fear. Outside, Daniel leaned against a pillar and rubbed his eyes. They said it would be easy, he whispered. Easy's a runway word, I said. Life's more like a pasture. By noon, Dana's piece hit the local site. Guardianship petition withdrawn amid questions about developer filings. She threaded Blue Hollow through 3 other cases, all sudden, all smelling like hurry. Quotes from Nora and Sam explained the mechanics. My words sat short and square in the middle. Dignity isn't a signature line. The comments were kinder than the world sometimes allows. Blue Hollow sent counsel to Lenny's office at 2, this time without the stainless smile. The letter was 4 pages of retreat phrased as clarification. Anticipatory notices filed in error, it said, withdrawn without prejudice. They promised to notify the recorder and the state UCC index. Tessa did not come. At 3, we held the co-op meeting in my hallway, not tenants this time, neighbors who'd mended fence and shared tools. Nora explained limited equity. Keisha drew boxes on a flip chart and put people's names inside them. This isn't a sale, she said. It's a shift. Ownership becomes a job with good hours. We voted to file a notice of intent. Pastor Green said a prayer that sounded like a checklist. Daniel stood when it circled to him. I won't be part of the co-op, he said, voice steady, eyes on the floor. But I'll help build the fence in spring, and I'll talk to others about what not to sign. Good, I said. Start with yourself. When the room emptied, he lingered. I told Tessa I was out, he said. She said Blue Hollow would remember. Let them remember you know, I said. It's a good word. He nodded, then added, almost shy, I paid the roofer I'd been stalling. It felt like landing gear down. We ate soup at the table, the kind of meal that works whether men are sad or right. At dusk, the pasture turned the color of an old map. A V of geese wrote a sentence above the creek and left it for someone who can read sky. At 7, the county recorder's office posted 2 entries online. UCC 1 terminated, Blue Hollow's anticipatory notice withdrawn. Teresa from the counter sent me a 1-line email. Beacon seen. I printed it and put it in the tin box with the deed and Judge Harlan's letter. The lid closed with the sound of something old choosing to keep doing its job. Anna came by with cookies and news. Dana's story got picked up, she said. 2 families called Nora already. Good, I said. Daylight works best when it spreads. She looked at the wall where my flight map hangs. You ever miss it? Some days, I said. Then I remember this is also flying, wind, weight, numbers. Night came on clean and not unkind. Daniel rose to go. At the door he turned. Dad, I thought dignity was about being strong in the middle of a fight, he said. Today it felt like pacing, like you were setting speed for both of us. Pace keeps wings, I said. Strength just burns fuel. After he left, I walked the hall and turned off the lights one by one, the way I always have. In the kitchen, I opened the notebook and wrote a final set of lines in a hand that didn't shake. Guardianship withdrawn, capacity on record, Blue Hollow retreat logged, co-op notice filed, neighbors briefed, Daniel, truth in public. I drew a box around the last line and let the pen rest. I stepped onto the porch and listened. The creek talked. The pasture answered. The house said nothing because it didn't need to. I turned the key twice, as always, and let the home speak for me. Level, calm, with that quiet dignity that endures headwind and doesn't ask for witnesses. Inside, the kettle clicked off. I poured tea and stood by the window while steam fogged the glass and then cleared. Out beyond the fence, the snow held prints that would be gone by morning. That's the way with tracks. You don't need them to stay to know where you walked. When I sat, I put the tin box on the table and rested my hand on its lid. Legacy isn't what men take with them. It's what they leave standing plumb and square after the rush has passed. On a map, my pasture is a rectangle. In the heart, it's a runway I don't have to leave. Final approach, I said to the quiet room, and let it be. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.